All right, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us live. I am here with Melissa from Ohio. She is done with
Hello.
school. Yay.
Yay.
So exciting. I'm super excited for you. Give me a shout out if you're watching us live or if you're watching the replay. Give us a hashtag replay. We are live now. Awesome. So you guys, I'm
Okay.
here with Melissa. I know we have a lot of people who are really excited to watch this live interview because we have lots of teachers, not just in CMW, but also myself and Coach Kisa were teachers as well. So we fully believe in educating educators, right? We love educating everyone, but we especially love working with teachers because teachers just understand the process. They understand what it's like to be coachable and committed. And so we love teachers. And Melissa was definitely one of those teachers that we just absolutely adored working with. And Melissa, I want to thank you again for being here and willing to share your story. I told you before our call today, like, thank you for sharing your photos with us because I mean, there was a drastic difference between
Yeah.
week 1 and week 12. I mean, you guys, if you're watching, like, give Melissa a shout out. Like, good job,
Thank
Melissa.
you.
Like, you
Couldn't have
know,
done
like
it without you guys.
yeah, well, you deserve it. So today, guys, we're going to talk to Melissa a little bit about like her journey with CMW, what she did before CMW, how she felt about the program, and how she feels now, because that's the most important thing. We always want people in CMW to feel like they're set up for success. It's not about just what you can accomplish in 12 weeks, but what you can do for the rest of your life. And so we always want to make sure people feel empowered and motivated and that they're doing something sustainable. So we'll get to that as well. So Melissa, why don't you first tell us a little bit about what you were doing before CMW, what you had tried in the past for your weight loss?
Yeah. The biggest thing that I had tried was Weight Watchers. The first time I had ever done Weight Watchers was probably in my early 20s. I'm 33 now, but in my early 20s, I had tried Weight Watchers. And the first time that I had done Weight Watchers, I did notice that I had lost some weight. And I think it's mostly because at that point in my life, I had never really, through high school and college, ever tracked what I was eating. So any small change, I did lose a little bit of weight with Weight Watchers. However, I gained it all back. And then fast forward like 8 years later, when I'm in my early 30s, I thought like, well, I had success with Weight Watchers again. I'll try it out. So I tried it again when I was like probably 31 and then 32. And it was really discouraging because they give you the way Weight Watchers works. If you guys aren't familiar with it, they, based on like your height and your weight, they'll give you a certain amount of points that you're allowed to consume per day. So my number was 23 points. And it was really difficult for me to stay within that points and feel like satisfied, like I had had enough to eat. And so I just felt super discouraged after trying for months and feeling like, one, I was like under eating, and two, the scale wasn't moving at all. So that's what I had tried. And up until really I started working with you guys, I was still trying to do Weight Watchers.
Yeah, and I hear this a lot. And you guys comment below if you're on Weight Watchers or you tried Weight Watchers and maybe it worked for you in the past or it didn't a few times after, or maybe it's just something that doesn't work for you in the long run. Like comment if you've been in Melissa's shoes, because I hear this all the time. And this is something we definitely take into consideration with CMW is we know where people have been. And so we definitely don't want to, recreate that same experience. And so once we knew Melissa had done the Weight Watchers and she didn't want to do the counting anymore and feel like those limitations of X amount of points per day, we really don't want people feeling like they have all those crazy restrictions. So,
Yeah.
so Melissa, tell us a little bit about like, what did you like the most about your 12 weeks with CMW?
Well, the reason why I reached out to you guys was because I felt like I was not being held accountable on like just an app like Weight Watchers. So what I loved is that like you guys were my accountability partners. And like when I had that week where, I had a couple weeks because everybody has weeks where you plateau or you gain a pound or something like typical me after trying something for 3 or 4 weeks, like Weight Watchers and not seeing any movement, I would have just given up. But like knowing that I had you guys, like, oh, well, I'm going to talk to Kristen or Danielle or Kisa in like, 2 or 3 days. So even though I gained a pound, like it will be fine. I got to keep trucking along. So I think like having you guys as my accountability, like helped push me through those like plateaus or those times when I did gain like a pound or two because I like was away for the weekend or like something like that. So I think that was my favorite part. And then also just understanding what I was putting in my body more because Weight Watchers trained me to eat a lot of sugar-free stuff. So I learned so much about like what I was actually putting in my body and like how I was actually like feeling so much more satisfied now when I eat compared to Weight Watchers, I felt like I was just still hungry. I wasn't really enjoying all the chemically sugar-free stuff, but I felt like I had to use that. So you guys just like taught me a lot of knowledge about what I was eating as well.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing, like health first, weight loss second, both the strategies. So we always want you guys like
Yes.
eating healthy foods, like healthier salad dressings, like not the chemically sugar-free
Oh my
dressings,
gosh.
that are low in
Yes.
points, but they're low in nutrients as well. And not really good for your body. So I know you love like learning more about the nutritional value. And I distinctly remember talking to you, I think it was the week after Teacher Appreciation Week.
Oh,
And I
yes.
felt, yeah, right. And you were like, oh my God,
Yeah.
there's like all this food around. And I know we have some teachers watching, and I'm sure a lot of teachers struggle through Teacher Appreciation Week because all the PTA and like people bring in food and tons of food.
Yes.
So if you're watching and you're a teacher, like comment below, like that was me, like I struggled through teacher appreciation. But I remember talking to you and just trying to always help you move forward. We always say in CMW, always forward, never backwards, and I remember we talked about like, well, was the week really that bad?
Hmm.
And I think we came up with some realizations like, no, like, it wasn't that bad. You can always move forward.
Yeah. And I think like for stuff like that, like it was all about balance. I was more aware. Like, did I enjoy the chocolate fountain when they had a chocolate fountain that week? Yes. And like, did I enjoy a piece of pizza that week? Yes. But then I also went home and I had made like a nutritious meal, and I made sure I was drinking my water, and like I ate all my veggies. And then there were also days where I didn't participate in this stuff because I was like, do I really want it? Like, do I really want that donut before school starts? Not really. So I feel like even though I did, maybe splurge more than I typically would in a normal week, I was more aware of it and I was trying to like balance it out. And it helped because I think I only really gained maybe a pound or stayed the same on Teacher Appreciation Week, where in the past I could have probably easily gained like 3 pounds that week.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, like the weight loss journey is not linear. This is the biggest thing we teach in CMW. It has peaks and valleys, right? Like you're going to have weeks
Mhm.
where you might go up a pound. And this is especially
Definitely.
for women, like we tend to see much more of a fluctuation. Or at least like we are more sensitive to that fluctuation in weight. We might lose a pound and gain it back. And there's so many factors that affect that weight loss journey. But what's most important is just the ability to keep moving forward, and I loved,
Yes.
you were so good about, sticking to your calls and checking in with us and, sharing with what was going on in your life. And so again, like in order to be successful on the health and weight loss journey, it's really important to be honest, be honest with what's
Yes.
going on in your life and be open to getting support because we're not going to have perfect weeks. Like, you did not have a perfect 12 weeks. And that was actually gonna
Mhm.
be my next question was like, were there any tough times that you remember, during CMW?
Yeah, I mean, definitely like Teacher Appreciation Week was an example. Just those typical things that come up, or like when I went on spring break with my family, like learning how to, when there's a time where I'm out of my routine, because I'm a very routine person, like a lot of teachers are. So when there's a week where I am off school, or for example, right now in this summer, just kind of making sure I don't revert back to my old habits and my old ways, and making sure that I'm setting in place like new habits and new healthier habits. I think that's always going to be like a constant struggle, but it's definitely gotten easier as the time has continued. And also for me, for somebody who did a lot of like fad diets, like I had to like retrain my brain. Um, because like Weight Watchers taught me like I'm not allowed to have nuts and avocado because those fats were too many points. And like I'm not allowed to have just like certain foods that now I'm like, yeah, I can enjoy this. It's okay to enjoy this. And so I think just kind of if you're somebody who's always been in like the fad diet culture, like having to retrain my brain and tell myself it's okay to eat this and it's going to be fine. And actually it's more nourishing for your body. That actually like took a little bit of time for me to retrain my thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. And I would say too, I remember like talking with you about, one of the biggest things you saw on this weight loss journey, it's not even just about the numbers, it's more even about like the non-scale victories. And can you tell us a little
Yes.
bit more about in terms of like we always hear about like the importance of changing your mindset, but what did that look like for you specifically? How do you feel like you changed your mindset and reprogrammed your brain?
Yeah, well, definitely sticking to my weekly calls helps to help hold me accountable,
Yeah.
because I knew that like, oh, well, I don't want to let them down, so I'm going to have to like work on this week, and that really helped me personally. But also just reminding myself to take baby steps. I think sometimes I get overwhelmed when I try to like throw in the towel and make everything new at once. So reminding myself that like it's okay, we all have those days, and to just take it one day at a time was huge for my mindset. And then also there was one time where Kisa and I made a list of ways that I could unwind after school, that didn't have to do with wine, because I definitely get in the habit, especially during the winter months where it's dark by like 5 o'clock, of like coming home and having a glass of wine. And so there was one time where she was like, well, why don't you make a list of other things that you can do? And so I did. And I created a whole list of things like going on a walk and talking on the phone with somebody, and doing yoga or some stretching, or like doing something outside with my dog, taking her to the dog park. And I learned that before I decided to have a glass of wine, I needed to go do one of those things. And then like 9 times out of 10, by the time I get home, I don't have that desire to have that wine anymore. So that was definitely a huge mindset change. And it helped because then if I did go on a walk, chances are when I came home, I was more productive anyways, because I was like out of that kind of funk that teachers get in when they get out of school. Like you're just so mentally drained. And for me, I call it like my mindset walks, like by taking like a mile walk with my dog or however much I had time for, it like got my mindset back to like feeling a little more energized and wash off that like exhaustion from school.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. So speaking of that teacher exhaustion, I remember because I taught for 10 years, as a lot of
Yeah.
people watching probably know that. And I coached track and field. Like I literally was with kids all day. I mean, let's talk about that, like that 3 to 5 p.m.
Oh,
window, right? Like
yes.
having no energy. So the last thing you want to do when you get home from school is like go work out or even go for a walk. So I was really proud of you when not only did you get the walks in, but you finally got more consistent with your fitness, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did.
So yeah. And what do you think helped you become more consistent with your fitness?
Definitely not doing everything at so I'm so sorry. Shh. Sorry. It's okay. Come here. It's okay. My neighbor just got home and shut the door and scared her.
Oh,
Um, Definitely not doing everything at once. I know in the past I had failed because I would try to do these like really strenuous workouts and change all of my food all within 1 week. And like
yeah.
I know myself now, and I know that that was a huge part of why I failed. So I kind of focused on my nutrition first. And once I felt like I had created some habits for a few weeks, then I was like, okay, now it's time to step up your fitness. So I think by doing it in kind of chunks for me personally helped me to be more successful, because I know myself and I would have gotten too overwhelmed and would have just not really given it my all or given up. And so I think that for me, just taking baby steps. And then when I was at a point where I felt like the nutrition also made me feel a little more like energized after school than I was, because I was eating better, then I had the kind of willpower to start working out at home. And honestly, going on a walk for me gives me energy to then go home and be like, okay, I can do like a 30-minute, arm workout, or I can do like a 45-minute total body workout now. Like I feel good now that I have my mindset walk. So just kind of creating new habits for myself and doing it just a day at a time was definitely helped me to like get my stamina up.
Love that. Awesome. Yeah. And I was so excited when you told me you had that wedding coming up. It's coming up in a few weeks, right? The wedding
Yeah,
you're in. And you
it
were like, oh,
is.
I want to do some more arm work. And I was like, oh yeah, I
Mhm.
will give you exercises to do for your arms. Like you could do them like right at home. So yeah, no, I was so excited when you asked that and just was really excited for the fitness piece. Cause of course, like I get excited about fitness, but I know
Mhm.
not everyone has that same enthusiasm. And it definitely takes the right strategy and the right mindset to not just get excited about fitness, but also to be motivated to do it long term. And so that was something I was really, excited to see in you. And just, yeah, we focus on nutrition first. Once we built the confidence there, then
Mhm.
we're able to go into the fitness piece. And that's how it all kind of came together. And you saw
Yeah.
results. And so now, like, you're out of the program now. You've been on your own for a couple of weeks now. I mean, how do you feel? How confident do you feel in your ability to continue with your habits and maintain your results post program?
Honestly, like more confident than I ever have been with my weight loss goals. Like I just feel so motivated, and it's just amazing how in like 12 weeks I just remember the goal weight that I had felt unattainable after being just like, you know, shut down so many times with Weight Watchers. I remember like reaching out to you as like a last stitch effort and feeling like I'm never going to make the scale move. And so the fact that in 12 weeks I did all that is amazing, and that in itself is like enough motivation to keep going, because now I'm like 5 or 6 pounds away from the goal that I want to be at. And that just seems like amazing in itself that I even got there. And I am starting to notice, it's hard for me to notice in day to day, but I notice a huge difference in my body in pictures. So that motivates me too, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like, and my clothes are starting to fit different. And so that's motivating. Like that bridesmaid's dress that I'm going to be in a wedding in a couple weeks. And when I first got the dress, it fit well. But it was like, I couldn't gain a pound or two, or it was going to be too tight. And now I just tried it on yesterday and I actually have some space, like it's a little loose. And I was surprised by that. I thought it would fit the same, but honestly, even though the scale hadn't even moved that much, I can tell just by exercising and stuff, the inches are coming off. So that, like, I'm noticing changes in it, and the dress fits even better than it did. So just things like that are so motivating. Or like my belt, I can tighten it tighter than I ever have before. So things like that really like motivate me to keep going, and just I feel like it's not unattainable anymore. And when I first started the program, I thought of like the end of May as my finish line. Like, okay, by the end of May, when I'm done with the program, that's when I'll be where I want to be. But then I realized, like, I changed my mindset. It's not a finish line. Like, I'm not done, and I'm going to continue on. So I think like that gives me confidence too, that I just have all these little tools in my tool belt now that I can continue on my own, and I'm almost there. So
You're almost there. And like I said, the most important thing is like your confidence in your ability to stay there, and the fact that you've developed all of these habits along the way. And we got rid of that like all or nothing mindset, where you're all
yes.
in or you're throwing in the towel and you're like, screw it, I'll just drink some more wine or whatever, like,
Yes.
but it's
Yeah.
really cool too, it's more important, more important than losing weight is how you lose it, right? Because you did not give up wine completely. You
No.
still traveled, you still had events, and you had your
Hmm.
birthday, you went on a vacation, you went to Asheville, you did all these fun things, and
Yeah.
you were still successful, right?
Hmm.
So I love that. And that's why like I was just really inspired, not just by your story, but also just like your attitude and commitment to, to no matter
Yeah.
what was going on in your life, like you like steadfast and we're super, super coachable. And,
Hmm.
Mahak, Keith and Danielle, the coaches, like we were really grateful to work with you.
Yes.
So
Thank you.
last thing, Melissa, like for anyone watching this who is contemplating like starting the weight loss journey, or maybe they're on it and they feel stuck, they don't know what to do. What's like one piece of advice you would give someone who was in your shoes 12 weeks ago?
Take baby steps and give yourself grace. Like, I feel like I'm my worst critic. And so I would beat myself up and tell myself, I can't do this. Like, this is going to be too hard for me. But like with the confidence of you guys and knowing that I had you guys to like text or email or touch base with on Zoom, it gave me that confidence slowly and helped me to realize that I can do this. And so if I can do it, like anybody really can do it. And it isn't unattainable. It really isn't. And so taking baby steps and not throwing in the towel when you don't see progress right away is the biggest piece of advice I can give, because that's what I always did. I would just be like, well, I tried for 2 weeks and I didn't see any change, so I'm done. And that was before I met you guys. And then I was like, okay, I can slowly but surely do this, and I don't need to change everything at once. And so I think that's the biggest thing, just taking it a step at a time and having patience to see the results in the end.
Yeah, yeah. And that's such a great, I love that advice. And this is what we say from the get-go in CMW, because people, come in, they started and they want to like go all in right away. And we're like, okay,
Hmm.
like we can like, be serious about this and get you results in the first week, but it's important to take baby steps, because that's when you learn what actually works for you. If we try to change everything at once, you never really learn your secret sauce, right? Your recipe for
Right.
success. So that's why I love how you mentioned like we focus on nutrition, then we got into the fitness piece. And that's why you never got overwhelmed. It didn't feel
Hmm.
unattainable. And more importantly, it feels like something you could do long term, because at the end of the day, that's our number one concern in CMW is your ability to hold on to these results long term. And what I love about Melissa now is like you have the summer. We were talking
Hmm.
about, keeping a summer schedule, because I know the school year is so regimented. But what's really
Yes.
cool, more so than the summer, it's like now you're going to go into the school year knowing exactly what worked for you, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah. And I feel like in summers past, I always gained like 8 or so pounds because I felt like I had the freedom to go out to eat more and eat whatever I wanted. And not walk around as much as I do at school. Like teachers were always on our feet. So naturally in the school year, my step count was always up more just because I was walking around all day. And I think in the past, I just was like, oh, you owe yourself this. You don't have to go and do this or this or this today for the summer, and just like way more relaxed. And I'm already learning to like create healthy summer habits for myself. So I've been making sure that I'm still, having an increased amount of movement this summer. And that doesn't mean I have to have these like strenuous, crazy workouts. That just means maybe I'm going to add like a walk in the morning. I've been getting my coffee and walking my dog in the morning so that I can keep my step count up. And it's honestly been really nice. Like it's a good start to my day. And I didn't do that last summer or any summer. And I think just like small changes like that. And I've been still closing my rings in the summer, which is huge. Like I never did that last year. And it hasn't been that hard. Like I'm still enjoying my summer. I'm still going to the pool and going out to eat with friends, but I'm definitely using my downtime to move my body and make sure I'm still drinking my water and doing those small things that are still helping me reach my goal. Because this summer I've been off for a week and a half and I've already lost a couple pounds. So I'm still moving my body and like working hard. And I thought that that would just never happen. And then it did.
I love that. Yes. And again, like as long as feel like you have that recipe for success, like exactly what food habits work for you, fitness habits,
Mhm.
mindset habits. In this way, you've learned how to hold yourself accountable. And I know like you really valued our accountability when we were your
Yes.
partners. But at the end of the day, we taught you how to be your own accountability partner, and like you're gonna
Yeah.
be fine. I told you that last week on our exit session. Like you've got this in the bag. Like you're gonna hit
Right.
your goal weight. I'm not even worried about that. And I'm really, really, thankful that I had the opportunity to work with you. And, any teachers watching this, I think it's important to see, that even like, I know this is a crazy time of year for teachers. Melissa's done school, luckily, but I know there's a lot of teachers that are still wrapping
Mhm.
up school, depending on where they are in the country. And I want to empower teachers to realize that no matter how like scatterbrained we feel, or we have no time for ourselves, or like, we're always giving to others. Melissa's here sharing her story. She found time for herself. And something we say in CMW is me first while acknowledging others, so
Mhm.
Melissa definitely, gave to her students, but also found time for her. And, I want to encourage teachers this summer, when you do have a little bit of time off, like take this time to learn, what it really takes to transform and to really change your mindset, change your body, change your life. So when you go back to school, just like Melissa will in August, you know what works for you and
Mhm.
you're good to go.
Yeah, I mean, for any teachers watching, this is truly like such a great time to start the program and to start healthy habits because, you're not going to have those like mentally exhausting feelings this summer, depending on what you're doing, I guess. But it's really a great time to start focusing on yourself. And then, like you said, by the time like August or September rolls around, you'll already have some good habits in place. And I think that would be really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. And we do teacher discounts in CMW. We love brand
Hmm.
new teachers, and Melissa, you invested in yourself. And I always say in CMW, like what you put into this, like you're gonna get out 10x,
Hmm.
So you invested in your health, your happiness, and this is something you have for life. And I told you, I was
Yes.
like, we're always here for you in CMW. Like I told you, like always can you post it on how you're doing. And I want to thank you for sharing your story with us. And anyone who's
Absolutely.
watching this, and comment below if you were inspired by Melissa's story. Melissa can't see your comments right now, but once we finish the live, she can go on Facebook and she can see, people's comments. So, thank her for being here. Let us know if she inspired you. And even if you're not a teacher, I know today we were talking, a lot about teaching and just that environment. But anyone that's not a teacher, maybe you just have like a really busy life and you feel like you don't have time for yourself, or maybe you have like a big family and you're just giving to them constantly, we're here to empower you to also take care of yourself, because you have to fill up your cup. Here's my water cup, actually, right? You have to fill up your cup so it's
Uh-huh.
overflowing, right?
Hmm.
Because we cannot give from an empty cup. And a lot of teachers, I know I was in this boat, my cup was down here, right?
Uh-huh.
So we have to get that cup overflowing so you can give to your students, your family, your friends, and then to yourself, right? So
Yeah.
here to help you with that in CMW. So if you're interested in creating your success story, maybe you're also tired of Weight Watchers and all these other fad diets that don't work for you, and you want not to feel overwhelmed, you want to do baby steps, but you don't know like what baby steps to take. Like, where do I start? Do I start with nutrition first? Do I start with fitness first? how can I maybe do both? Like that's what we'll do in CMW. I always say in CMW, we love cookies, but nothing we do is cookie cutter. How we worked with Melissa is different than how we work with other clients because every person is different. Some people like they're really the fitness is the easy part for them and the nutrition is the really hard part. And then some people are the opposite. I mean, everyone is different. So if you were listening to Melissa and you're thinking, well, maybe I'm a little bit different than her, but I want the same goals. That's cool. We can still help you in CMW. So what Melissa did, and I encourage all of you guys here to do watching, is schedule a complimentary call with us. I'll drop my link here below. So Melissa found us online. She never met in person. I live I'm here in Colorado right now. She lives in Ohio. I'm actually a Penn State grad. And I was like, oh, we got like Ohio people. But we work with people all over the country. So she found us online. She just felt that connection with us. And I was really excited to work with her. When we had our first call, like there was definitely a connection between Melissa and I. We're both in our mid 30s. We're both like on the dating scene. We have a lot in common. So
yeah.
I'm really, really thankful for our work together. And I would love to help anyone here watching create your success story, just like Melissa had her success story. So if you'd like to do that, I'll drop my link below, createmyway.com/apply. And we'll just do a talk and see, where you are in your life right now and where you want to be and talk strategy, the best way to help you reach your goals, not just reach them, but like sustain them for the rest of your life. All right, so I'll drop that link here below. And like I said, if you are a teacher, we love working with teachers. I'm a former educator. I coach track and field. I was very involved in education. So we just teach different things now. So I'm here to help you. And Melissa, thank you so much for sharing your story. And I know I'll be keeping in touch with you. And I see Cindy commenting here. Cindy was also a CMW alumni. She is at the almost 45 pounds, I think, Cindy, that she's
wow.
lost.
Yay, Cindy. That's great.
Yeah. So when she did our interview, she was 34 pounds down and she just kept going on her own and she's doing great. She works out with us still. So yeah, I'm just always grateful for the CMW family. And we do, lots of these interviews for a reason because we've got great people we want to showcase. So Melissa, thank you so much, girl.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for watching. Have an awesome rest of your day, guys. And we'll do another interview here soon. All right. Have a good day, you guys. Bye.
All right. Bye. See ya.